We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself.
Recognize that the very molecules that make up your body, the atoms that construct the molecules, are traceable to the crucibles that were once the centers of high-mass stars, that exploded their chemically enriched guts into the galaxy, enriching pristine gas clouds with the chemistry of life, so that we're all connected to each other biologically, to the Earth chemically, and to the rest of the universe atomically. That's kind of cool. That makes me smile. And I actually feel quite large at the end of that. It's not that we are better than the universe, we're part of the universe. We're in the universe and the universe is in us.
We human beings don't look very much like a tree. We certainly view the world differently than a tree does. But down deep, at the molecular heart of life, we're essentially identical to trees.
And true reality is in that unity with all life. It is a metaphysical truth that becomes spontaneously realized because it's the real truth of your life.
Knowing that there's this interconnectedness of the universe, that we are all interconnected and that we are connected to the universe at its fundamental level, I think is as good an explanation for spirituality as there is.
Observing is almost mystical. It's the act that really puts me in contact with the rest of the universe. Sitting there and accepting these photons, I imagine projecting myself back along that same path and in some way, I know this sounds ridiculous, being in communication and communion with where they came from.
There are tens of billions of different kinds of organic molecules, yet only about 50 of them are used in the essential machinery of life. The same 50 employed over and over again, ingeniously for different functions in every living thing. And when we go to the very kernel of life on Earth, to the proteins that control cell chemistry, to the spiral or helix of nucleic acids which carry the hereditary information, we find these molecules to be absolutely identical in all plants and animals of our planet.
There is a plant consciousness. There is an animal consciousness. And we share all of these things. You eat certain foods and the bile knows whether there's something there for it to go to work on. I mean, this whole thing is consciousness. I begin to feel more and more that the whole world is conscious. Certainly the vegetable world is conscious. And when you live in the woods, as I did as a kid, you can see all these different consciousnesses relating to themselves.
Each cell is definitely alive, and each cell has a consciousness, particularly if we define consciousness as the point of view of an observer. There is always the perspective of the cell.
We really have to recognize that even the material world around us, the chairs, the tables, the rooms, the carpet, camera included, all of these are nothing but possible movements of consciousness. And I'm choosing moment to moment out of those movements to bring my actual experience into manifestation. This is the only radical thinking that you need to do. But it is so radical, it's so difficult, because our tendency is that the world is already out there, independent of my experience. It is not. Quantum physics has been so clear about it. Heisenberg himself, co-discoverer of quantum physics, said atoms are not things. They are only tendencies. So instead of thinking of things, you have to think of possibilities. They're all possibilities of consciousness.
Your consciousness influences others around you. It influences material properties. It influences your future. You are co-creating your future.
Our own future in the history of the universe may be very short, and in the far future of the universe, everything that happened here may be irrelevant. And we may find that depressing, but for me, it's a remarkable accident. And rather than being depressed about it, we should really enjoy our brief moment in the sun.
Who can say that 1,000 years from now, there will not be hundreds of new branches of human civilization, filling out worlds orbiting hundreds of stars in this neck of the galaxy?
Remember, we're the new kids on the block, right? The Earth has been here 4 or 5 billion years, but the galaxy has been here at least twice that long. So there may be some civilizations that are very, very much more advanced than we are. They may be taking advantage of that, and it may be that we're sitting around with our radio receivers hoping to get signals, and all the really interesting traffic is being communicated in a way that we're not yet aware of.
2/3 of the stars and planets and life, if it's there, in the universe are billions of years older than we are. And if you ask what a billion years means in the history of life, I must tell you that 1 billion years ago, the highest form of life on the Earth was a worm. 3 billion years ago, the highest form of life on the Earth were bacteria. So we must ask ourselves, we who are so proud of our accomplishments, what is our place in the cosmic perspective of life if most of those beings out there, if they are there, stand in relationship to us as we do to the worms on this planet? And that is not meant to be a denigrating remark, but only to suggest that humankind's greatest experiences still lie ahead of us.
It's useful to sometimes think about how fragile our life is here on Earth, that maybe we aren't going to be here for eternity. Maybe there's a hope, but the way it looks, the universe just ends, and that's it.